Friday. Work's over, live streams are up, and we are here today with the New York Jets face the Patriots in our first road game of the season. So the question of the day is, will Sam Darnold be seeing ghosts again? My bet, based on previous experience with our last 2 weeks, is a high chance that that can actually happen. Hopefully not. But let's go ahead and take a look at their roster and we'll see what we are up against real quick. All right, so we got Tom Brady, of course. Le'Veon Bell, we did send him over in a trade. We got decided to even get involved in this. Very talented receiving back, Sonny Mitchell, the young rookie. He could do some damage. And then they have a young Damian Harris from Alabama that we'll potentially have to worry about as well. James Devlin there. Julian Edelman, the longtime slot receiver, kind of do it all playmaker for the Jets. Excuse me, for the Patriots. Where's my brain? With that said, hopefully he doesn't go crazy on us. Demarius Thomas, Philip Dorsett, and N'Keal Harry, another Alabama rookie. So my hope is that things stay relatively chill for us. This can turn into, problem very easy for us. Hopefully that receiving core stays as underwhelming as it has been compared to previous years. All right, Benjamin Watson, Lance Kendricks, and a Matt Lacoste leading the way in the tight end group. Benjamin Watson didn't do much for them in real life either. Let's hope that continues. Isaiah Wynn, the young rookie, we did look at him as a potential option, but I didn't want to do any further trades with the Patriots. I think that is status quo. I mean, how many divisions are actually trading within their own division? Joe Thuney, though, at guard, David Andrews, Shaq Mason, Marcus Cannon. Their offensive line coach, extremely talented. We actually currently have his son on our staff um, with the new regime, Robert Sala and them. So that'll be interesting. I did see something in the rumor mill about it, potentially having his father come over. Michael Bennett on the line, John Simon, Lawrence Guy. They got some talent there. Jamie Collins, Avery Williamson. We also sent over to the Patriots. Dante Hightower, excuse me. Gilmore McCourty, Jonathan Jones, J.C. Jackson. Pretty solid group in the secondary. Devin McCourty, and then Patrick Chung. So it's pretty stacked, well built roster, as expected and pretty much as normal for them. They are the model of consistency in a league. One of the other things that I want to do is actually take a look at the trade options that we may have for Jordan Jenkins as well. Let's see, a third, two fourths. This was the pick that I was considering previously. Couple second rounders. Um, I guess my only reservations would be we have a lot of picks already. We're able to dump a lot of players that wasn't necessarily a benefit at all for us. But what I don't want to get into is like having a million and one second round picks and stuff. It's pretty rare that that happens. And we already have quite a fair amount uh, stacked up for us. So we'll come back to that. With that said, I think this is a good time for us to go ahead and actually dive into the game itself. And you never know, we might surprise again. We are 1-1 on the season. We had a surprise victory last week against the Cleveland Browns, and their offense for basically 58 minutes was terrible. And then the 2-minute warning came in the fourth quarter. The offense came to life. They probably made as many yards in that quarter as they did the entire previous portion of the game. So that is something for us to keep an eye on as well, because they were able to get a touchdown late. So far, both teams are pretty healthy going into the first quarter of the season. And we will be kicking off, meaning we'll receive in the second half. This is a returnable kick, and we do a solid job. They'll be starting off at the 25 either way. And there's TB12, the legend, the GOAT himself. 5 touchdowns on the season, 434 yards. What else would you expect? All right, they start the game off with a handoff. They're able to go about 5 yards before, I believe that's Marcus May that was able to get in there. Even with this being considered not the best offense they've put together, you can still see all of the weapons they have here. Courtesy of us, Le'Veon Bell, and Jordan Jenkins gets in there early. CJ Mosley has not been effective early or often. Ja'Kai Polite been so relevant. He did show that he has 2 sacks on the season, I believe. Um, so we'll see ultimately what happens with that, but we'll need to take a look further. Brady, deep, and that's Demarius Thomas allowing the first conversion of the game. Jamal Adams able to get him down pretty quick. Fresh set of downs coming out of an I formation. It looks like they do decide to run up the middle, and they have a fair amount of success there. Um, I can't say we necessarily have a very good strength, even though we have pretty good talent on the defensive line. It's the secondary level that we need to be concerned about. Jamal Adams got pretty much taken out of the play right there. Otherwise, he did have a chance to go in there and take him down. We could see last week, Le'Veon Bell, 70 yards on 17 carries, and he did secure himself some pay dirt as he gets a touchdown. And they are deciding to try to run it against us quite a bit. So far, it's been about 4 or 5 rushes. Uh, and then I believe they only have the one play action pass, which they use to convert. Another rush, and this time they just fold right into the arms of, I believe that was CJ Mosley. Okay, Ja'Kai Polite. Another rush, they convert. We had an opportunity, but he just lets the blocks set themselves up, and he just narrowly slides by. Another rush. Once again, they might be trying to go for a record in a given game with how many carries that they're doing. This could be a very brutal game for us. If they end up being as efficient as they usually are, which you can see, we lucked out a little bit just by the ball carrier running out of bounds. That should have been a conversion. But if they continue to just try to run the clock out on us like this, a delayed handoff, and I think White was able to get just enough, but they do give it to us. So CJ Mosley imposing his will there. I think we got lucky. Hopefully a challenge flag does not come out. Um, if they continue to try to run like this though, and based on the way we've been having like 3 and outs, and not really able to build on a whole lot of drives, um, this could be pretty lopsided. Patriots starts things up off with a field goal. They're up 3 and 0, and we get ready to get an opportunity to see how Sam Darnold responds on the first drive of the game for the New York Jets. I will give it to him that while he hasn't been dominant by any measure of the word, you can see he is technically efficient, 37 to 51, and we don't have any turnovers as of yet. Given the lack of playmakers, I suppose that's about as good as you can ask for. We start off with a run, and one of the very few effective runs right off the bat. The problem comes early, though. Ty Montgomery has an injury, and this could be a big deal. He had a momentous game last week, going almost for 200 yards, and he's limping off. So we're probably not going to see him anymore this game, and we are pretty much stuck with very young backs in Elijah McGuire and Trenton Cannon now, and then the rookie Jalen Moore. So that is something for to be very concerned about realistically. Sam Darnold does find his first man on the night in Trenton Cannon. Speaking of which, we'll see how the younger players in the backfield are able to compare to what Ty Montgomery's been able to do so far. Play action, shot in the middle, wide open. That's the connection with Quincy and Nunwa there. 21 yards on that play. And this is some of the talent that we are expecting to consistently see from Sam Darnold, as we either put pieces around him or increase his competition during the draft. Keep in mind there were 2 top 10 rated quarterbacks so far on the original draft board. We opt for a run, fight for some heavy yards, and we get maybe 2, maybe 3 yards there. I'm glad they take the option to dance there, because not a whole lot to dance about in the midst of a season. At least not for us. We'll see how the story plays out. Quick pass to the outside. Robbie Anderson actually makes a pretty sly move. They consider it a rush, but he takes off for 28 yards. The creativity has been continuing so far into week 3 of the season. I like some of the calls that are being played. It's not as vanilla as it was in week 1. Week 2 was kind of a step back for sure, but they're trying to make some things happen. Okay, shot to the flats. We do connect on it, and we're able to secure ourselves 7 yards. That's the veteran of the wide receiver core, Josh Bellamy. Play action off to the right. We take a shot, and it was red the whole time. I believe that's Stephon Gilmore there with a potential pick. Quick three-step drop. We end up doing a little bit more, and once again, more deflections. So I've raised this issue before. My concern will be, even with creativity, even with maybe the defense capturing some significant turnovers for us, when we get in the red zone, are we actually going to be able to convert and not have to resort to trickery? As you can see there, we attempt to do just that, and they end up having just enough reaction ability to stop it. Trevor Siemian just not able to really find enough of a hole, get a block that he needs. You can see 78 whiffing right there on picking up one of the men, and potentially we could at least fail for the first down. So that is a concern. That could be just part of the nature of the playbook as well. But I guess we will not know until we bring in some better talent. They try to outside slick move. Nice little block. There's a spin on the way to Le'Veon Bell, picking up a first down. Almost. They give him second and inches. They haven't had very much luck with the sticks when it's been close so far. Play action themselves. Brady finding his man once again. And he's pretty much finding chunk plays through the air. And that is Watson on the board for the game with his first reception in 24 yards. You can see Williamson trying to hype his boys up. Patriots rocking the throwback uniforms today, and I will have to say, not just as a hater of the Patriots team, but those are some pretty ugly uniforms, at least for today. More damage over the middle for us. It's Demaryius Thomas, once again, his second reception of the game. One thing to note is we will be making a change to the second inside linebacker spot, which Blake Cashman is currently manning. Now, I don't know if it's a matter of him not having the best physical stature or just his current skill set, but I think we can find maybe a little bit better production if we bump up maybe Harvey Lange or the other option. Um, and maybe just let him sit and watch a little bit more and come in on a few more reserve plays. Deep shot. Brady gets his first touchdown against us today as he targets N'Keal Harry. He gets his first reception and first touchdown of the night all on the same play. Marcus May just didn't have the best angle to be able to take him down in time. You can see Blake Cashman in pursuit. He might have been out of the play. Maybe it was a Lackins uncovered somewhere. We don't know. My hope is that this is not going to be something that I'll be repeating all night with touchdowns that Brady's just dropping back and delivering through play action. It's working for them though. Running game's been effective. That's always going to open up opportunities in the passing game. Um, Finding a balance to things is where I think people get a little stuck in their ways. Moving forward, I think the way that I'm looking to necessarily build the team, I've kind of mentioned this before. Offensive line, we all know, is extremely important. I wanted to build it inside out, which is why I made Brandon Linder, at least for that center position, a huge priority for us once I kind of settled in on seeing the talent level there. And from there, You can build from, the tackles or the guard, whoever ends up being most impactful. Robbie Anderson getting his first reception of the night. He almost secures a first down. We go into the first quarter down 10-0. It's not where we want to be, but we've seen how we bounce back from some of these things. Now, going back to what I was mentioning, inside out is the way I like things. On the defense, it's kind of reverse. I do like a strong defensive line, but I think having good secondary play is pretty critical. Sam Darnold, dangerous throw there. Might have actually been quite a bit behind the slant route that the receiver is running there, and that one almost gets picked off. So on a 3rd and inches, we do the smart thing and we opt to just hand it off. Trent Cannon's able to get it as things opened up pretty well for us. You can tell his vision isn't where a veteran like Ty Montgomery's would be, though, because the right side seemed like he probably could have squeezed out 4 or 5 more yards. Okay, we take a look off to the right side, connecting to Quincy Enunwa again. Deontay Burnett had one really solid game with them, coming out of the 4th position in the depth chart and then moved up due to injury to that 3rd slot. And since we have not heard his name called a whole lot. Running play there, blown up before it even really had a chance to succeed. And you can see some of the trouble we already potentially may have. 4 carries, 5 yards. Remember the first game, we only had one player that even finished at 1 yard per carry average, and that was the fullback who wasn't able to convert a crucial 3rd or 4th down for us. Quick drop back. Eric Tomlinson secures it, but that's by no means is going to help us drive the ball down the field, dinking and dunking as we have been doing so far during the season. I got to question his ball placement on some of these as well. They're a little bit behind. You can see the receiver having to adjust, and then they're kind of just trying to make moves on their own. All of the big plays haven't come from effective passing or even the running game being super efficient. It's come from a player even getting a good lane, or pretty much everything just broke right for that character. Now, we seen kicking from the 42-yard line before that. That was not effective. We try another trick play, and I'm a little concerned with whatever our coordinator is writing up for this game this time around. And of course, it's none other than Avery Williamson, the player we also sent over, who's blowing things up for us right now. So Le'Veon Bell having success, Avery Williamson having success. We pulled the trigger on those trades because, for one, they offered the best package at the time, and 2, we knew that the Patriots were probably going to be able to make a deep run and that we were going to be in the basement of the NFL. So it only made sense to capitalize on the need there, but I don't see too many of those happening in the future whatsoever. Le'Veon Bell still having some success on the day. 11 rushes, 42 yards. Play action coming. Brady almost had a secured catch there, but looks like we were able to kind of shake Watson up a little bit before he brought it all the way in. And I think that was Adams. Yep, Adams coming in there and just knocking things loose a bit. CJ Mosley was also in the way of the ball carrier. Not a good look either way to be sandwiched in between those two. And that's very much so the Patriots way. They're going to dominate you the entire game if you allow them to. And that's pretty much the case this time around. I mean, if you have success on special teams, offense, and defense, it's probably a long day for whoever the other team is. All right, Sam Darnold drops a bullet to the left side to Robbie Anderson, and he's able to secure it. I was a little bit concerned after seeing the depth of Sam Darnold's drop back because he has been known to hold on to the ball a little longer than necessary, but he's dropping some pretty quick passes off this time around as he shoots one quickly to Elijah McGuire there. Okay, man pretty much ran free off of the edge right away. Trent Cannon has some speed to be able to take things off though, so he does have a little bit of that bring it home potential. And Sam Darnold fires one of the first deep balls we're able to get connected to on the season, straight over the middle of the field to Quincy Enunwa. I wasn't sure if we we're going to be able to secure that catch at all. And you can see just over the head of one defender, right in front of another, though, on the heels of Quincy Enunwa there. Solid job executing by those two. Another running play. We find a hole. We get about 12, 13 yards there. They say we only get 11. Maybe that juke move took us back a little bit further than I thought. We're able to part the seas a little bit there. It's nice to see. Gives me a little bit of hope. Okay, wide open off the left side, and this is the second time, but we're able to score a touchdown here, and that is Deontay Burnett. Sam Darnold finds his one of his favorite USC targets there, and he delivers him his second touchdown of the season. Deontay Burnett just has nobody in coverage that's able to get over there to his side, and he runs that one to the house. He has pretty deceptive speed. Now, given the lack of coverage that's there, I mean, it is what it is. But I figured he would have been hunted down before he's able to actually cross the goal marker there. 7-10. 7-10. We're down one possession. Just under 5 minutes in the second quarter to go. If they hold on to it long enough, I am concerned if we'll be able to keep pace with the 2-minute offense of the Patriots. And they'll be trying to make their way from the 23-yard line. Okay, a little screen action here. We're able to kind of get a decent pursuit angle on it. Blake Cashman actually being a little bit more effective than I've seen recently there in coverage. Didn't look like he was going to be able to secure the tackle, though. Luckily, we had Perry Nickerson there that was able to kind of help seal things up. Or actually, I believe that's Brian Poole potentially. Maybe Terrence Brooks. Just missing the tackle. And they're able to run and pick up a pretty good chunk of yards. These are the things that we slowly need to be remembering and seeing if this is being a continual problem for us. Of course, the teams and the roster makes up for those that we're playing week after week are changing, but when those situations present itself, are we improving in those areas or is this a season-long problem? It'll kind of really help us decide free agency wise with some of these players that need to re-up contracts, what we're going to do. They're able to secure themselves another set of downs as they're just about at the halfway mark. Little wide receiver screen. We're all over. They lose another 5 yards there. Two-minute warning territory. 2nd and 16. Halfway to go, essentially. Let's see if we can make us a stop here. And they make a move. They do get the conversion, though. They are currently at the 40. And Demaryius Thomas there going over 50 yards in the first half. He's connected on most of the big plays so far that they've been able to get when securing these conversions, showing he still has a little bit in the tank there. Luckily, we got the enforcer, Jamal Adams, patrolling around. You can see Sam Darnold disappointed. He may not get an opportunity to try to lead his team down the field and help recover some of this debt that we're in as he strikes once again over the middle of the field. And Watson's been pretty active so far for them as well. Sam Darnold must feel like he's in a groove. He's trying to get back on the field. He may have to wait until the second half of the game starts, though. We do get a nice stop there. C.J. Mosley getting in there to keep Bell from going crazy. Opting for a timeout as both teams try to reset a bit and continue this chess match. Brady looking, finds a man over the middle. We're able to jar that one loose a bit. Empty backfield. Brady looking, finds a man over the middle, and I think he might have fell forward once again. The refs are not on the Patriots side. They call it just short, so they're going to have to settle for a field goal unless we see a little bit of trickery from them today, which we will not. So we're still only down one possession, 48 seconds to go. Sam Darnold could get crazy and try to take some shots down the field during this stretch here and see if we can't go into half tied up. Now, we have gotten one or two decent returns in the punt and kickoff game within these last 2 weeks. That does not happen to be the case here to try to make things a little bit easier on us. So Sam Darnold's going to have to go the length of the field starting from the 29-yard marker. And a big chunk of that is from the touchdown catch that Deontay Burnett had. And that was just blown coverage and a bit of luck for us. Left hand side throws it into the dirt. The play just never really developed for us how it should have. Shot over the middle is a fumble, which we could not afford to have. Patriots already back in our territory, and Avery Williams there recovers as he continues to kind of put his finger in our face and let us know we probably should have held on to him. These are the problems with injuries, and this is why it is always important to make sure you're not focused solely on starters, but kind of thinking about the depth of your team as well. Bad time for us to deal with turnover issues at the moment when we potentially could have walked away with as little damage as possible. Now we have to face the prospects of them scoring another touchdown, screenplay, two good blocks. They call a timeout while they consider how they want to try to attack the end zone here, I'm certain. Still one to kind of keep on the books in case they need it. Le'Veon Bell pouring on more to the stat sheet, 4 receptions, 24 yards. Brady drops back. He finds the left side. They get it and are able to get out of bounds. 3 yards to go. Are they going to rush it or try to pass? They've had success in both areas. They drop back. He tosses a beauty on a slant in the back of the end zone. And Demaryius Thompson caps off some of his big plays with another one here in the end zone. 7-19. They may also opt to go for two just to put themselves up 2 full possessions. Blake Cashman there, but not active enough. And they opt for a field goal, so they are comfortable going into the locker room up 13 points. So they capitalize on the turnover. Sam Darnold has even more pressure on his shoulders now to try to make something happen. We cannot afford to have another mistake that they capitalize on, or this could just be a game they run away with. Now, this would be a time where my philosophy, I would say, either take some kind of shot, maybe you can get like a good screen set up, make something happen there. Otherwise, maybe just hope that a really good, solid, beast mode type run play happens, or just kneel it. It's not worth the potential last second injury or something drastic happening like another fumble, and then they either get another touchdown or at least secure themselves a field goal to pad their stats a bit. And just like that is what I mean. That potentially was going to be an interception. We do get a little bit lucky. There's an defensive pass interference there. Connecting once again, we use our final timeout. We might try to do a Hail Mary. Sam Darnold doesn't necessarily have the strength to be tossing from the 50 like this. And the ball pretty much just bounces its way outside as it his shoulder pads of a number of players on its way out. So going into the locker room, our best half of the season so far from a yardage and playing perspective, 154 passing yards, 53 rushing yards, but still the Patriots have made more of their opportunities than we have. See what Buffalo's doing against Cincy. They're up 1 touchdown. And looks like potentially they'll be able to go 3-0 on the season. Ravens versus Chiefs, Patty Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson, and Mahomes is doing his thing. Miami Dolphins, our other rival, they're having a close enough game against the Cowboys. Ryan Fitzpatrick leading the way to the tune of 114 yards and a touchdown. Let's go ahead and get back to the field and see how the second half of this game goes for us. All right, we got a fresh 30 minutes to try to make something happen. As long as we're not rushing and pressing the pace of the game, we take smart shots, we execute the way we need to, we potentially can bounce back here. Starting off with a run play and face mask. We'll be tacking on 15 to the end of this play. Jamie Collins there, the offender. Now, if we have any chance, I'm going to say Robbie Anderson's going to have to step up a little bit more because we are going to have to try to take some shots. We do get a running play, and that is Trenton Cannon there. 6 rushing attempts, a whopping 12 yards. You can see the quickness, shiftiness, and the speed a little bit, though, with him being on the field. So he does pick up a brand new set of downs for us, and if he can just get loose a little bit, he can take that to the house in probably 5 seconds. This time Elijah McGuire, and you can see the difference there. At least I can. He's definitely a lot more effective as a receiving back, a la James White. Dropping back, we take a shot. And at that point, we just try to stop the other player from getting an easy interception. Robbie Anderson just kind of doing his best to make it a difficult catch if it is one. Throwing off to the left. I didn't way you can tell we weren't going to get to the sticks. So we're pretty much going to give it right back, but not before we attempt a field goal from the 35. I do at least feel a bit encouraged by the understanding of the game and the shot that we took with Robbie Anderson there, although it was somehow beyond him. And we're able to convert that there, so we're only down 10 now. It was beyond him, and one of the other things I would say we need to keep an eye on is how aggressive is he being in the air with some of these plays. We know we allowed him to have a touchdown deflected last game. There's been at least one or two other plays I can remember off the top of my head where he didn't really do a whole lot to get the ball. He was just trying to limit the other player from doing any damage to us. Le'Veon Bell, 53 yards on the night so far. He also has just under about 30 receiving yards. Brady opting to kind of start throwing the ball a little bit more to open up the second half, it seems, as he immediately goes out and gets himself a conversion over the middle. Even though that's been one of our best coverages today, we overrun a player there, and it cost us as they get another conversion. Perry Nickerson a little too happy about the potential of stopping somebody in the backfield. A quick move, and was off to the races there. These two was able to try to get himself back into play to help make up for the mistake. Okay, short little pass over the middle. They do cross the half field mark with that last pass, though. Gotta mention they'll be. Yep, there we go. I figured they'd have to be drawing up a run play just to make sure that play action stays effective. CJ Mosley in for that particular play. Brady finding his man again once again over the middle. That's Demarius Thomas. He might rack up over 100 yards for us during this game. He would be the first receiver so far, actually. So I can give that to the defense. We haven't had anybody crush us in the receiving yards department just yet. Pretty open player, slant over the middle. That would be a deduction against Blake Cashman, I would say. Probably could have had a better angle there, but he was the only man, it seemed like, in the middle of that particular section of the field. So could have been some blown coverage. I believe that was Steve McClendon with the tackle there. Now, I've been trying to keep an eye on Quentin Williams down there. He hasn't necessarily been getting outright double teamed like we've seen in the previous week. So I'm kind of looking to see if he's winning any of these battles up front. And looks like he is getting stonewalled a bit as we could have used that crucial turnover there. Dorsett not quite able to bring it down. It pops up. Three potential playmakers in that area, and nobody was able to secure the catch. Patriots look to put things back at a 13-point deficit with this field goal, and they do just that. Potential for a nice play there. It would have been difficult. Seems like a much harder play than it should have needed to be. And really just an awkward play from start to finish. I feel like it broke down early and we just tried to make do. And we see Lawrence Guy there pretty much break his way through two offensive linemen. And it was a nice stunt. We seen one person come in and then back off to drop back into zone. And then Lawrence Guy just pretty much bust through after that. I would say we had a solid amount of time to try to make something happen. So, unfortunately, on this play, I will give it to Darnold, but he needs to throw that away. It seemed like nobody was able to get open at that point. Yeah, for a play over the middle, 30 19. This is what I mean by some of these deficits. I don't think Sam Darnold is the gunslinger that we would need to be able to come back from these particular issues. Again, supporting cast and all that is a huge factor here. Gives a pretty nice kick and a nice bounce. And we'll put them at the 7 yard line. So maybe we can have a one or two effective plays here and push them back a bit. Brady with only 47 yards so far on 7 attempts, opening up the second half. All right, step one complete so far. We get them to get a stop on the running play down here. They look for a little bit more breathing room. Delayed handoff. Not too much more success as he does get 2 more yards. But unless they decide to throw here, it looks like we might be able to get them a 3-and-out. Brady opting for a screen. They make it to the 30. That's a bit of a disappointment. Leonard Williams not quite able to beat, making him come over to the side. He does stay within the play, though, to ultimately try to make the tackle. But that's never going to be a good matchup. James White will beat out Leonard Williams 10 out of 10 times. You can see May there just get juked out. Bad angles, bad understanding of kind of what's going on there. He should have pinned him to the out of bounds line. Brady dropping back, delivers a strike to his right. He looks like he might have over 300-yard day, depending on how they decide to keep things going in the fourth quarter. Delayed handoff. We have a holding. So we'll be bringing this one back. That was Philip Dorsett there. Delayed handoff once again, right into the arms of our boy. They'll be looking at a 3rd and long, so 3rd and 13. But we've been delivering chunk plays to them all night. Brady opts for the safe play, and we'll be getting the ball back, hopefully with decent enough field position. Jordan Jenkins' numbers tonight, a little bit deceptive, considering how often they've been thrown to the flats, utilizing the running backs, things like that. Running play. Nice little display of speed there. And we do pick up 8 yards. Not quite able to hold on to the block there. That could have been a pretty nice play for us. Okay, we opt for a screen on third down. We get some nice blocks. We get into the open, and can Elijah McGuire make it? He gets taken down just at the 1 yard line as we get ourselves another lucky play. I won't say blown coverage from them. We just made the necessary blocks that we need to. Elijah McGuire just able to kind of take the proper angles he needed. And if it wasn't for that last minute tackle, we would be looking at 7 on the board right now. So all we need to do is finish executing and bring in these 7 points. Well, blown up a little bit in the backfield, but at least we still are holding on to the ball. CJ Mosley a little bit disappointed with how we've been playing as a team, especially with the defense so far. This is the most points that they've necessarily allowed. We get a boost of speed there, and that is Trenton Cannon, first touchdown of the season for himself. And he basically goes in untouched. Nice to see that we didn't give ourselves too hard of a time there. And this is still a game for us, which is nice to see because it feels like we've been getting dominated from start to finish so far. Tom Brady putting up his usual numbers. Hopefully, we won't be dealing with them for too much longer at the same time as we take over as the new dominant team in the AFC East. Brandon Carr getting his first tackle of the night. It's not necessarily a bad thing until you think about how often Demaryius Thomas has gotten the ball, and he should be covering their top receiver. Yeah, this is not looking good for us, and things might be getting added to the L column after this week. Brady finding a man off to the left side. Looks like a little bit of a lapse in coverage there for ourselves to give us a little bit of a taste of our own medicine. Dropping back, finding one over the middle, and luckily we bring him down. One little shifty move there could have been the difference between 7 and us having a few more opportunities to try to get a turnover, some stops, minimize the damage, which we do on this first play. Seems like Jordan Jenkins finally decided to show up this game for the duration of the game. Oh, and they pretty much walk in untouched to the tune of 6 points. Now it seems like we've had just the right call plays when they haven't necessarily I don't know if maybe they just forgot about some of our players or what. But hopefully we can get something like that to occur again, which will save us a lot of time because we might be able to score a touchdown in a matter of 30 seconds or less. As it looked like they were going there for an extra 2. We're able to stop that from happening. Leonard Williams getting there in there on a would-be sack. Okay, we opt for another screen. See if we can't have a little bit more success there. Potentially a negative play. We ended up being able to use a bit of speed to get us 2 yards, but we need to be treating all of these as like a 2-minute offense drill, essentially. Right side, we find our man once again, and this is Trenton Cannon trying to get involved in receiving department a little bit more later in the game. Shot towards the middle. We find our man there, and that is Deontay Burnett. Excuse me, Leon Thompson. I thought that was the number 18. That's Deontay Thompson, not Leontay. Okay, we end up having to just throw one away there. Looking, we find a little bit of room over the middle. We get a fumble though. And is that a repeat offender? Trenton Cannon, excuse me, Elijah McGuire. Second fumble of the game, and they have been at costly times, both times for us. With that, the best we can hope for is either we're able to recover the ball right back, or we don't allow them to at least score on us again. At least we can, force them to try to run the clock out, if nothing else. Quentin Williams, he gets into the backfield pretty quick, secures a stop, his second of the game. That's nice to see. This time, he's been having quite a battle in the trenches, but he was able to pretty much just shove his man right out of the way on that particular play. All right, once again, getting in there in the backfield. So I don't know if they're playing some backups all of a sudden, but Quentin Williams kind of having his way here on this particular drive. A little bit of a play action, and Brady pretty much laughs off the little bit of success we have as he drops a dime in there, and Philip Dorsett pretty much puts the nail in the coffin on any hopes of us getting a down and out.
Ball back for the offense. Let's go. Shift, shift. Come on, baby. Let's go. Get excited. Let's go. Let's go.
17 to 29 is the score on the night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
2 minutes to go until the end of the game. And they break off a huge chunk play right there. We are going to try to utilize the timeouts, it seems. As seems they're committed to trying to finish the game strong at least, which is good to see.
You got him. You got him. Ha ha. You got him. 380. Double tight. Double tight. 72. Yeah. Flag 20. Hey, hey, we got tight left, tight left, tight ends left. Rip. 3 down.
And Brady being Brady, he's just they're going to try to dish you in some of the most subtle ways, most subtle, unsettled ways. CJ Mosley almost able to stop that from happening. But he caps the night off with the third touchdown of the game. And just like that, I'm concerned about any chance of success we would have had, at least with beating some of the division rivals. Buffalo Bills look great. The Patriots smacked us this game. And we'll see what the Dolphins end up looking like. At least we have a bye week to kind of consider the damage and stuff that we're going through tonight. Get us an extra week of practice. Get us a little bit of a break. Hopefully bounce back and play a lot stronger week 5. Darnold, though, didn't see too many ghosts. 20 of 28, 242. He gets a touchdown. So he's actually having himself a pretty respectable game, all things considered. He finished literally under 100 yards the entire game last week. Okay, Sam Darnold standing strong in the face of a lot of coverage around him. Wasn't able to do anything with it though, but that's an encouraging sign to see he didn't get rattled right there. Takes a shot to the left hand side. That was Deontay Burnett, I believe, and he just couldn't get his head up. Probably didn't see it coming. We don't know, but it ended up potentially being intercepted there. If he would have made a play on the ball, at least, I think we would have had a decent chance of success.
50, mine's 50. You go night night. Go night night.
We take a shot. They
Here we
pretty
go.
much
Here we
play a
go.
little backyard
Here we go.
football with it a bit before it drops harmlessly to the dirt. And this looks like the final score of the game, 36 to 17, as they're just going to complete the victory formation a few times here and in the pain that we're going through for this week, as the fan base has to suffer another crushing loss to the New England Patriots in one of the most depressing fashions, which has been pretty consistent for us, and that the games always seem and feel close, and then next thing you know, a quarter goes by and we're essentially being blown out. Let's at least check out the stats and see what's going on. All in all, pretty decent game with at least the expectations that I had. So Brady 334 yards, Darnold 240, three touchdowns compared to one. Bell goes over 100 yards. We get 18 out of Cannon, 24 out of McGuire, and then Robbie Anderson, instead of that being a reception, ends up counting towards the rushing total, so pads the stats a little bit more um, than what people would expect. Receiving department, Elijah McGuire leading the way, both in receptions and yardage totals. Quincy Enunwa next up. I like some of the plays that he made. Deontay Burnett having a pretty crucial play for us, otherwise non-existent. And then it's just pretty vanilla for most people. So, I mean, the running backs seem like they'll always be involved, and then it's a matter of if the receiving core steps up a bit. Brandon Linder gives up another sack on the season, but even if he gave up 10, I would essentially give him a pass as he has two liabilities on each side. Jenkins, Mosley, and Williams lead the way in tackles. We see Mosley, Jenkins, and Williams living in the backfield a little bit there, and then we aren't able to get to Tom Brady at all on the night. So we have a sackless day, and we're going to have to go back to seeing some of these concerns that our coaching staff had about Brady and Stephon Gilmore. So at least we're not losing any experience. I'm going to take this season, put it in our learning experience bag, and hopefully never deal with anything like this once again. Darrelle Roberts, he gets himself an upgrade while he is injured. We're going to put it in man to man. Gets himself +2. Perry Nickerson finally getting an upgrade himself. Um, really, we can't go wrong either way, but I think it only makes sense to stick to the man coverage. He gets +2, a little jumping, a little more acceleration, and some play recognition. So he's currently at a 74, and we might consider pouring some of that into the slot ability for him as well. And then Bryan, the unofficial backup, strong safety there, getting a little boost to his stats. Breakout player, Ty Montgomery got injured before he even had an opportunity to. And then, of course, the X factors we know. We didn't win the game, and they both essentially went crazy. Even though Stephon Gilmore didn't really show up in terms of interceptions or anything like that. But one new injury on the day. Ty Montgomery is going to be out only for this game. Okay, so he wasn't officially injured. It was Brandon Copeland. He's added. He'll be out for 5 weeks. Jamison Crowder will get back in a couple, so we only should have to deal with him being out for one, maybe two more games. We have a bye week. Brandon Carr wants to know basically, are they going to be able to relax a little bit more? We're going to go for the extra preparation. We need every bit of experience we can eke out of this roster, so there is no rest for the worry. I'll take the morale decrease, get 600 for the team overall. We got an injury decision to make. We are going to continue to have Quincy Enunwa doing what he does, even though it's asking for him to be the backup. Anderson, Roberts, and Jenkins now have trade offers. We finally have some negotiations here, so we can take a look at who we need to be concerned about. We know about Leonard Williams. Robbie Anderson will go ahead and definitely move then, as he will not be receiving a second contract from us. McClendon, potentially. I don't mind bringing him back. I just know in my head that we're not going to shift him to end at all, especially at his age. There's going to be some regression too, so it'd be more about just establishing a solid starter or depth at that tackle position since we moved Quentin. Brian Poole, Jordan Jenkins, Montgomery, Edwards, Copeland, pretty much the majority of not just starters, but anybody that would significantly have an impact on the season for us. So a lot of turnover coming in the off season. Now let's clean up a little bit of the drafting that we did so far. I pretty much said that I will be establishing getting a report for everyone at least within the first 3 rounds. So the top level talent isn't necessarily there on the offensive line, but there is some depth. And then, of course, we got the potential right guard there, Braxton Reeves, and that may be the go-to target. Let's go ahead and take a look at the quarterbacks here within the top 10. So Charlie Olsen and J.D. Spicer, a scrambler and a field general. Oh, and this looks very promising. Hmm. Let me see this tight end as well real quick. I really hate wasting scouting points, so that would leave us with 25. Okay. Let's check out, I guess, the linebacker here, Reggie Hooks. Very interesting, though. So, A plus throw power for both of them. He's 21. JD Spicer is 22. Throw accuracy short is about the same. Uh, but he can throw on the run, whereas we know his next trait is middle accuracy. We are going to have some decisions to make. We'll see if they fall or if there's a run on quarterback. I don't necessarily know what positions might fly off the board right away. Got ourselves an upgrade. Let's just go ahead and fast forward. Just want to see if anybody else pops up on the list. I'm going to save these upgrades and everything else for the next stream. So frustrated receiver, frustrated running back, and an X Factor defensive tackle in Fletcher Cox. Okay, still have the trade offers there. Injury report wise, we still have 4 weeks for Roberts, 3 for Copeland. Jamison Crowder, we just got to deal with this game without him, which will be good, especially if we end up making the trade for Robbie Anderson a little bit sooner. I want to see if the Ravens have any injuries yet. Nope, they are about as healthy as can get. Now, let's do quickly our normal shot at seeing if we can't drag in Orlando Brown. Now, if he's not going to stick, I might as well offer him. Are you still interested? They are. We know they need a middle linebacker. I am willing to deal CJ Mosley. See where this gets us. Okay, and what about our top draft pick? Oh, wow. If we were higher where we were, like number 8 or so, I think that might have actually got it done. Let's see if the first from next year may do it. That should still be a projected high pick. Oh my God. Okay, maybe Jamal Adams. What about Leonard Williams? Let's try. Let's try Leonard. Leonard and a second. Okay, it's pretty high. What about the first? It's close. Let me try it with Adams. Yeah, no, I still don't think we're quite going to be able to get this worked out. We might have to wait and see that pick improve a few more slots. They're probably still not willing to take 3 1s. Yeah, that's not going to cut it. We may be able to get him before the season, at least before the trading period ends. Well, with that said, thank you guys for checking it out. Let me know your thoughts on any maneuvers I can make there that you think may help us secure Orlando Brown, or if it is just potentially a waiting game, or if there's a different player you feel like we should be targeting. But I think that would be a nice way to start off the rebuild of the offensive line with us having Brandon Linder in the middle, Orlando Brown to the left. That keeps us from needing to specifically go out and get someone early on that's talented and gives us more options, especially considering what we've seen from the scouting report so far. With that said, though, looking forward to streaming Sunday if I don't have an opportunity to do it tomorrow. So until next time, thank you for watching. Peace.